Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. We have an amazing guest that has joined us today. I can't believe that I was able to convince Amanda to give me his information. But Peter, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me, and the kind words is already a good start.
All right, cool. Well, Peter, why don't you, Dennis, should we go around and do a round robin of intros first? All right, cool.
Yeah, let's do that. Why not? Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So how about I start with me and we'll end with you, Peter, and that way sure. You can kick us off into, what does the roadmap of Sitecore look like? So I'm Jaina Baumgartner. I'm the Director of Digital Solutions at RDA and a 3-time Strategy MVP, and I'm so excited to be able to host this session today. Dennis, how about you? You're next.
Oh, yes. Dennis Augustine. I'm a 5-time Sitecore MVP. Work at Composable. And I am also excited to be here today. Megan.
Awesome. I'll go next. I'm Megan. I work with Jaina at RDA. I'm a Sitecore digital strategist. We've just been working together for about a month and we still like each other, so that's pretty great. And I am in Minneapolis, St. Paul, the Twin Cities. And I'm going to hand it over to my old coworker, Tiffany. Hey, introduce yourself. Surprise.
Okay. You introduce yourself and then pick somebody else to introduce themselves. We'll go around. You guys can say where you work, what you've been doing, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, Tiffany, you with us?
Okay, we'll skip Tiffany and give her a second. We'll go with Jim next because he's my other former coworker.
Oh yeah.
Oh, of course. So I'm Jim Patillo. I am a 3-time MVP, currently working for the Federal Reserve Bank of Cleveland, helping them migrate their content over. And I will pass it off to Rehab.
Hello, everyone. This is Rahab. I am CTO in my company. It's called TrueDoc. We are working in healthcare solutions, and that's it.
Very cool. Thank you, Rahab. I'll just pick someone. Chandra, why don't you go next? He's my old coworker, ex-coworker.
All right. Hey, everyone. Hey, Jaina.
Hey.
Hey, hi, my name is Chandra Venkataraman. I am a solution architect here at A.M.A Systems.
Yeah. So many people know each other here because
it is crazy.
We end up moving around, but it still ends up being this very tight-knit community, right?
Just small world.
I recognize this face, Eduardo. Why don't you introduce yourself, mister?
Sure. Am I on mute? No, I'm not. I'm Eduardo Morris, Director of Digital Strategy at Niche Tech. I was 6-time Sitecore MVP, different categories, 4 times from the technology side, 2 times as an ambassador. And for the past couple of years, I've been working mainly with digital strategy. And I'm glad to see you guys here. And I see a lot of known names and faces as well.
Cool. You've been around the block. With MVPs, I mean. How about Chirag? Why don't you go next?
Hi, Chirag Patel, Solutions Architect at A.M.A. I've been Sitecore MVP 5 times in the past, but since then, really kind of focusing on a lot of the delivery, not so much on the actual hands-on like development and stuff like that, but really focusing on helping clients understand like all their different digital marketing technologies. And with Sitecore, with all the acquisitions and Jamstack and stuff like that, it's a very fun time right now for me.
So they need us too, Chirag. We're not second class just because we're not doing that other stuff, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, just going down my list then. AEI.
Summit.
Yeah, thank you, Jaina. So thank you everyone for having us today. Because I've been talking with Dennis just before going online. It's like my name is Ahmed and I work with Sitecore for over a couple of years now with services department. And as Chirag said, it's always good to have like being around these kind of smart people, MVPs and people from Sitecore, to learn new things and discuss new things, especially with the new adventures that are coming from Sitecore products at the moment. Thank you.
And A.M.A, what are you gonna do from the 1st of January? You can
So
tell.
I didn't know that that can go. So that will be the okay. So I'm so excited, guys, to announce like starting from the 1st of January, I'll be working for Pieter, joining his team and the technical product team as an evangelist for the product. So
Wow.
yeah, so yeah, that's yeah, thank you. So I'm so excited for that, and so technically I'm learning from him today. Like I'm joining to see how he responds to all these
does it. And then the next Sitecore strategy session, it'll be you who'll be our guest speaker, right?
Be a big owner. Yeah, let's look up to that. Why not?
Sounds great.
Fun fact, I was a different kind of evangelist in a former life.
Oh yeah, what kind of evangelist?
That's a whole other conversation. You don't want to get into that, you know.
That's
kind that preaches the gospel.
Is that for the next strategy meeting? Or
that's a whole other story. Yeah.
All right. Jason, you're next.
Jason's
he's typing. He's typing.
Yes.
Yeah, I see it in the chat.
Yeah, Jason's saying hi.
Right. I'm all up for Daniel Tiger songs.
Yeah.
So
I think everybody knows Jason.
Yeah, that's true. That's
just going to say that he needs no introduction.
Exactly.
True. All
Someday
right.
we'll get to all be together again in person, and it'll be fun. Good to see a lot of the faces here.
You're making it sentimental,
Jason. Hug Jason.
Yeah.
He's just Jesus. Anyway.
Lisa, hey.
Yes, hi.
Yeah, hi.
Good to see you. Hey, Megan. Hey, everybody. I know I'm a newbie, so consider me an aspiring MVP. But yeah, I'm a director in the Sitecore practice at Proficient, was at BrainJocks for a while, have been sales, marketing, client success, you name it. So very eager to learn more about Composable and about the roadmap and basically everything else. Thank you.
Cool. Yeah.
Nice to see you, Lisa, or see you.
Hear you. P. Barton.
Unmute if you're talking. If you're not, it's okay too.
No. All right. Moving on then. Walt. Hey, Walt.
Oh, hey there. Let me see if my voice works. If I got lost it. I was going to record a webinar yesterday, and I started, talking with the team, and then I just started coughing. I'm like, I don't think this is going to work. But yeah, the lunch is growing, so exciting. I had competency at A.M.A for Sitecore globally, so excited to be here, and let's see what we've got.
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
We're there, isn't we?
I think that's it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Tiffany, yeah.
Tiffany couldn't get her mic going, so I will introduce her. Tiffany Laster. She's a digital strategist in the Sitecore business unit at Proficient. She's amazing, and I'm glad she's here. So
very cool.
All right.
Hi, Tiffany. All right. So then another person who doesn't need much introduction, but Peter, why don't you introduce yourself?
Yeah, so I'm Pieter Brinkman. I'm Senior Director of Technical Marketing. I've been with the company for a long time, over 10 years. I even put up one of these things I got at my 10 years. Here you go. It's here, the red thing. I don't know if you can see it. It says 10 years. So here you go. A lot of familiar faces. I think that's really fun to see. I think that Jason was saying, it's been weird not seeing people in person so long. So many, for example, MVPs that I never met in person, which is also weird to me. In the 10 years I've done a lot. I started as one of the first one in the Netherlands, basically as the one technical person next to the seller. So you do everything from system administrating to Sitecore training to IT, which wasn't my best thing. I wasn't really good at server management or whatever we did there, till rescue missions. At some point, Lars Nielsen was running the MVP program. I joined one of his meetings at Dreamcore, it was called these days, and it wasn't really good. It was pretty hostile because it was one day in a year when everyone saw each other, and basically the founders were sitting there, and the few MVPs they had was just giving feedback because it was the only chance. So it really didn't feel well. So I I met Lars in the elevator. I said, Lars, you can do so much better with this. And he said, if you can do it better, you should join my team. And in 2 months, I was part of Lars's team, where we started building out technical marketing. Really cool to work as one of the founders. Lars always been a great mentor and an inspirator, so that was good. We grew the team, slowly focusing mainly on the MVP program. So I rebuilt that from scratch based on community contributions, where at the beginning it was more on also on the sales side, right? It wasn't really clear on what's an MVP, like what's the boundaries, where do we get? It's still really hard, right, to define. It's not black and white, so it's not an easy test, but we rebuilt that one up. And then luckily Thomas joined to take it to the next level. We went from Lars Nielsen went off to join product marketing. I spent about 4 years there building it up, getting the enablement group, building developer evangelism in there. So that's where Jason comes in. And now we joined product. So we're now into David Flanagan's product management org, where I'm part of the product leadership team. I still have 3 teams underneath me. So that is Thomas Farga, which you probably know from the MVP program, but he also is there to support any community initiatives in general. Jason, who's also on this meeting, who is the lead of the developer advocates group. Then we're building up the new group where Ahmed will be part of. So that's the product evangelist group. And there's also an operational group inside of technical marketing, which is now part of product. And that also brings me to I'm part of the product. So very close to product management, working on where are we going with Sitecore. I think that's why the reason why Amanda put my name out there. We've been acquiring all these companies. We've been on this very long SaaS journey, seeing the names here and the introductions. People have been with Sitecore for a long time. So we've all seen products like Content Hub, where we acquired the first company and we build out Sitecore AI and other solutions. And everyone hopefully seen Symposium content, where we're going to focus more on SaaS products while still have our platform solution. So tons of things happening, tons of companies acquired. And I think today, in general, I think this is a really nice forum. I'm doing a fair amount of customer presentations, which is nice because I really enjoy the questions and answer afterwards. Of course, there's not always an answer because the solutions are really per customer basis. There's not one silver bullet to any of this, which is good because it's unique. So it brings a conversation. So I'm very excited to be here with about 12 people and just discuss things and also hear your opinion on all the news that you're seeing, on the direction, what you hear from your customers, and what you see in the field. I'm always very interested to get feedback.
Great. Well, thank you, Pieter. And yeah, I mean, this whole topic and this forum is meant to be discussion oriented. So anyone feel free to ask a question at any time to Pieter. But I can get us started, Pieter. So you guys, you have acquired quite a few products in the last year. And during Sitecore Symposium, there was quite a lot of conversation around Composable and can you just give us a quick overview of where each of the products are headed and what, so, with your CDP and Personalize and then Order Cloud, what are the next steps with these products?
Yeah, so there's 2 things happening. You of course got Sitecore XP, which is a platform solution. So what we're doing is we're of course aligning with an industry. So we've always had platform with Sitecore XP where everyone was tied to each other. So you have your content management, you have your experience platform on top, and then you can add commerce. It's all closely coupled together, like every other platform vendor, right? Like how Adobe would do it, how other vendors do it. That's just the concept of platform. Great benefits of it because you get everything from one vendor. It's all one UI. There's benefits to it. It brings lots of value out of the package. But of course, you also need to fit your business case into that value that you get from the platform. Hosting it is more like scaling it could be more complex, and also tailoring to your need could be more complex. And then you see the industry, and that's been a trend for a longer time, moving to things with API first, like headless content management and all these new trends. And Composable is basically more or less a next step in where you're going to allow customers to combine multiple products from a vendor. So it's all about having those best of breed products and composing your own solution with full freedom of technology and both products in that top solution in the presentation layer in like, for example, a web solution, which you could pick. But again, it's channel agnostic. So it doesn't only need to be web. It could be point of sales kiosk. It could be anything there. But the real value is why the industry is asking for this is because every customer already has marketing stack, right? And they don't want to throw everything away and do it all over again. So how can we play with that best of breed solutions and then build that layer on top of the integration? So what Sitecore has been doing is we needed to move from a platform, which is still a solution that is very valid, right? So it's per customer case. So there are still really a lot of customers that I really feel XP is the right fit, but some needs to have that more flexibility and want to go into that composable world. But if we want to move there, right, we cannot build everything yourself, because then the journey to SaaS will just be really, really long. So at some point you want to acquire basically to speed up or leapfrog into that SaaS journey. And the good thing about composable is the whole idea about composable, and it's not Sitecore making it up, right? It's an industry term. It's about best of breed products. So what we now have is basically acquired different products for commerce, for search, for data, so CDP for customer data, forms with Send. So we're basically acquiring products that are standalone products, best of breed, and that can work with all the other products. And that's where all the products fit in. I mean, we can go through them. I don't know if everyone knows what the product does, but if we do it, I'll end up in doing a presentation about all the products, which is a long story. I don't really enjoy doing that. So, but yeah, it's really about individual products that work on their own and combining it with existing marketing stack. That's where the value is, and it's an offering next to the platform XP, which is also an offering that we'll maintain.
Actually, good point, Peter. I also assumed that everybody knew what the products are, but maybe that's a good, just a good quick intro, like obviously not a detailed dive into each product, which could probably each take an hour or more. But what are, could you just like introduce all the products just to make sure our audience, everybody here knows what we're talking about?
So the first part will be our platform offering, which is everything bolted together. So that's Sitecore XM as a content management system, XP as the personalization or the digital experience platform, XC as commerce. So that's all tied together as a platform. Then on the other side, you have Composable, where there's standalone products. So you have Content Hub, which will provide you digital asset management, and it will provide you content operations. So that's all about how do you create content, how do you execute on your content strategy, project planning, and all these different things. Then we go into, of course, Sitecore XM will move over there. So all the investment that we've done over the year into the Sitecore content management and all the knowledge that we have, we don't want to throw it away. So we're building that to be a full SaaS product in that composable stack. Then there's BoxEver.
About BoxEver.
Yeah, you were talking about the different products.
Yeah, we talked about platform. Okay. And then we had Content Hub for digital asset management, content operations, and then I think the first one was probably then BoxEver as an acquisition. Yeah. So BoxEver again is a customer data platform. I think we briefly touched on that. So it's basically again that 360 view of your customers. So it's not only web channel, right? It could be hooked into any other channel or data lake. So it really is about fitting into your enterprise architecture. And I think that's how you should see that. Personalize is then also based on the same technology. So we're trying to boost that proven technology and build on top of that. So if you then look at Personalize, it's basically more focusing on one channel, because if you look at the customer base, most of the customers are really using it as a web experience. So Personalize is really to focus on that channel. Then if we move to the acquisition, next one, I will take Send, which will be called then Sitecore Send. And it's all like, what do you need for DXP? If you think about it, you need to be able to store your customer data. So that's CDP. You need to be able to communicate outwards, right? Send communications. So that's where Send comes in. It also has a marketing automation there. So you can do newsletters, send out email, and in the future, you could also send out other communications. So that's really going to be that cornerstone for sending out communications. Then we acquired Order Cloud, which came with a very strong commerce engine. It's basically composable commerce. It goes even further than Composable DXP. It's really that backbone. It's really the technical backbone of your bigger commerce solution. So really, if you want to do B2B commerce, for example, this is a great solution for it. It's API first. So again, you can build anything out there from point of sales kiosk to, it can support anything. There's no limits, because that's again the beauty of an API first solution, is whatever you want to build with it. It's really the backbone engine. And then on top of that, that's why Reflection was bought pretty soon after, because we really believe that that any commerce experience, like even if I look at myself, it starts in that search box. You always search for products, so you use all those different functionalities. So it's really important to have a good catalog search, and that's what Reflection always did really well. So that will be Sitecore Discover. So that's all about product discovery. That's why that name came from. Using then that same technology, and that's a product that's not there, so that's more announced at Symposium, is then Sitecore Search, which is using that technology platform that Sitecore Discover offers. The knowledge that the team has, right? Because there's an search expert there, and building out then a variation that does content search. And again, because it's composable, it will work on your current site. So it will have support for models like a crawler model. So you can basically use it or index this website and then provide search functionality. But then again, we also want to make sure it works better with our other products. So if you would combine it, for example, with Sitecore XM or with Content Hub, it would be a deeper integration, so it could have better index values and would have better search results. That's also Reflection, CDP order cloud. Am I missing anyone? So many things.
I don't think so. I think you got them all. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think on top, like, so those are basically acquired products if you look at it. And then on top, of course, there is then also the delivery side where we're expanding into. So you got all the products which have functionality to you as a company or as a digital strategist, but then technology-wise, you also need to deliver it, right? If you have a global customer, you need to make sure you can deliver it in speed, right? If you look at the market or at Google, speed is really important. How can you deliver experience really fast in a really good way? And that's where we released Experience Edge a while back. So that's all, again, to publish your content and your layout data for XM into a CDN. So it removes that complexity of all the content delivery servers. I know it's a bit technical, but it provides you that scaled delivery for the content. And then on top, we're also partnering with Vercel, which together with Next.js will be an end-to-end solution, all SaaS, providing that global scale solution. So you don't need to worry about peak time, uptime, global scaling, having hardware, having IT teams, basically making it easier to work with. And then one thing I forgot now, I said Vercel and Next.js is Symphony that we announced on Symposium, which was the front end as a service. So, but this goes really into the composable part. So I'm naming all these products now at once, but they're not tied to each other. So all these products will work with any website. So for example, the whole business model of Discover was always catalog search. It always worked with multiple sites. CDP has already been implemented with Sitecore before we acquired it. It has been implemented with Adobe. It has been implemented with anything. So all these products work with any product. It's not only that they're going to work with Sitecore products, so they're going to work with everything. They're standalone products that will work. But we want to do is build out a Symphony, which is fronted as a service, which will be then, again, a standalone product that will be able to combine multiple of these products and compose that front end for you. Because at the end, you still want to have, as a marketer, they still want to have what you see is what you get editing. And if you go fully headless without any way of composing an experience, every time when you want to change something, you need a developer. So with Symphony, we're really trying to find that balance between empowering the marketer and then still having that technology freedom for a developer. So it's striking that balance and making sure that we also focus on empowering the business user and the marketers to execute tests themselves.
That's great. Thank you, Pieter. A question that comes up quite a bit is, where does SXA and Horizon fit into this roadmap?
So SXA and Horizon, of course, are part of the platform DXP. Again, and there has been investment in that too. So 10.2 has been released. So if you look at what we're doing with the platform, we've been talking a lot with customers, and what we hear is that the features it's feature rich. It brings the value that they want, but there's room for improvement, right? So we can remove as much friction as we can from scaling. It's always been an issue. Everything to reduce that footprint, right? Performance enhancements, just making it better for marketer, better reporting, different things. So one thing that for example was in 10.2, because a big focus also to narrow that gap from platform to our composable product. So how can you leverage that better? How can you align that architecture? So for example, in 10.2, we added static site generations of your websites directly into Vercel. So that will help you, right? Removing that friction. So that way you could still have SXA and then statically publish it. But again, as soon as you go static site generation, you would lose things like personalization with Experience Platform. So it's all a bit of a trade-off, but there's all these XM Cloud and static site generation are all paths to, let's say that you're not using XP, you could use XM with SXA, do static site generation, and then add Sitecore Personalize on top to do that personalization piece. But we're still very focused on the experience platform. If you look at 10.2, we really extended the integration between Horizon and SXA, so it really works well. There's more support, it fully works. So there's big investment just to keep that moving, and that's part of the enhancement. So there are already products that have been out there, but we just want to make them better. I think SXA, there's not much we can do. I think it's a really, really strong product. Horizon needs better support for SXA. That's what we've been doing with 10.2, and we'll bring out 10.3 and onwards to improve on that. Great,
awesome. Since a lot of us are, strategists here and it's Strategy Lunch, and we've been working with Sitecore XP and XDB and the marketing suite for quite a while, is the plan that CDP and Personalize will eventually take that over?
Yes and no. I mean, that's going to be a lot of the answers on the yes and no part there, because no, because I really think XP as a suite, because it's a different product. So the platform is a different product than Composable. The platform brings everything, like, as digital strategist, everything is in one UI. If you like how the content editor works, or the what you see is what you get editor works, you probably would prefer to use EXM to compose your emails and send them out, because that's all in the same UI. Then all that will automatically feed into the experience database, and you have the one view of that customer in XDB. So I think that will be there as is. But then if you look at where the bigger investments are happening, it's in these composable and the individual stack. But that doesn't mean that there's room for both there. And then it depends for the customer. If you have a customer that has tons of integration questions and already has a really strong marketing stack that has value for them, then probably it's better to build on that composable stack and add stuff around it that will expand their footprint. But it's not going to be for example, CDP will not be the next step from XP. It's not a path that ultimately is the only way. No, there's room for both.
Dennis, do you have a question?
Yeah, I do. So Pieter, what would you say to, if we have customers who are now considering just getting into XP or XC, and then are wondering, should we be doing that or be looking in the new product directions? What would you kind of tell folks who are kind of wondering if they should be getting into XP, XM, those things right now? And would you advise them to kind of just go into, Content Hub and all those sort of experience edge directions? What's the advice?
Yeah, I think that's a very valid question, and one we get from a lot of new customers, but also existing customers. How do we get there, or do we need to get there? The answer, of course, is going to be it's really per customer. So my advice would talk closely with your partner, work with the sales engineer from Sitecore, because it's, again, I really feel, for example, if you don't have the issues with global scaling, or you have the right IT teams and you really like the value that the platform, if the Sitecore XP platform provides you so much value out of the box, that might be the perfect fit for you. But if you're really figuring out how do I fit my business case in the platform, then you probably want to look at the other at the composable stack, because then you can use different products. You don't even only need to use Sitecore products, right? You could say, I want to use the content management solution from this vendor. I'm going to use CDP from Sitecore, Send from Sitecore. That's the beauty of the composable, but it comes with a cost of integration, and it's not an out-of-the-box solution. So the value of a platform is more out of the box, but you need to tailor your business case in it, right? So because you get all the tools, you need to work with all the tools. You need to host all the tools. It is a lot. So there's pros and cons for both solutions, which makes there's no silver bullet. It's the number one question we get from customer success or from sales. Can we get like a how would you say, like a workflow or a selection diagram with questions, and then the outcome is go for this solution or go for that solution? But it hard enough, it's not black and white. And for most of you who work in an agency in a strategy role, you probably recognize your role there, that you really need to fit, like, what's the business case that they're trying to solve and what's the best way of doing it. And so I think there's a big role there for the partner. There's a big role for Sitecore to educate what all these products are doing, because there's so much is come out in the last day. last weeks or months. So I think that's the combination, but there really is a big role for the individual conversation with the customer. Like, what's the business case that you try to solve? And perhaps that is a perfect fit or 80% fit for XP. Then that would be probably the best choice. But if they already have a very strong marketing stack and you just want to add one piece of it, then you might just want to add Send or CDP to that mix.
And Peter, CDP and Personalize are two separate products?
Yes.
Okay.
But they're on the same product line. So CDP, see CDP more as the experience database. So including XConnect, so you can integrate with all the different sources. So it's really about having that view of the customer, and it's really about integrating with anything. So you can have your data lakes there. It's really playing in at enterprise. So the customers that are using CDP, they are also really in that enterprise space, the most of them, right? Because they really have data lakes and they're tying everything in, and then they gotta do personalization, decisioning on top of that, and then send that back out. Personalization is really remove all that complexity of the enterprise, right, with the integrations, and just focusing really on real-time personalization and testing.
Okay, so one can exist without the other, however, in some
yes, they can exist with that. So because there's a lower footprint, right? So the cost will be lower for Personalize because it has less features, but also a CDP, the same as the experience database, like we all know. If you have tons of visitors, that database grows. No matter what customer data solutions you'll pick, if you have tons of visitors, that data will grow, and there's a price to it because you need to host it. But we need to host it if we do it in SaaS. You need to host it if you do it in the experience database. So that comes with that part, but the Personalize is a lighter version of it. So they can exist as they are both individual products, but they'll complement each other closely, yes.
Great. Any other questions from our audiences, from everyone gathered here?
Yeah, Peter, I have a question around XC, the Experience Commerce and Order Cloud. So one of the things that I'm doing a similar assessment, helping a client determine, like, is Composable the right solution for them? And they have aspirations for commerce down the line. And one of the things that they pointed out was, like, over the last couple of releases, if you look at Experience Commerce, there hasn't really been much investment or a lot of features or capabilities added. There's been, bug fixes, improvement on performance, but really new capabilities hasn't been there. So should they really be looking at XC, which is what they're kind of considering right now, or should they be exploring Order Cloud?
Yeah, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but it is for customer bases. I don't know all the details, but in general, like, there's benefits to the XC where it feeds back into the experience database. So if you want to have everything again in one platform and get that overview, there's value. But I agree, the main investment in XC has been performance updates, enhancements, and all that stuff. And I think if you look at the roadmap, that's what we want to do. We want to improve it, and it's a really good fit for B2C. If you have any wishes to B2C or more complex commerce solution, Order Cloud might be a better fit there, because it's really, you build a commerce backbone, and then basically you can build everything around it, from a storefront, like a web storefront, or any other sales channel that you want to build out from there, from a commerce solution. So they're really different products if you look at it closely. They both are called commerce, but they really target a different, like Sitecore Commerce. XC is really B2C. If you want to do B2B, I wouldn't advise you to go that route. I would advise you to definitely look at Order Cloud. And there's definitely, if you have more complex and more, you want to be more flexible on your commerce delivery, Order Cloud is a better way. I would investigate Order Cloud. The good thing about Order Cloud, you can go into the portal and try it out and build it out. It has a really good SaaS model where you can try out developer experience. You can actually see the product and feel the product and see if it solves your issues. Maybe that helps building out a POC or something in that way.
And is there still a roadmap for XC, like new features and capabilities being added? Because I think that's the part of the question, was the perception of, like, hey, like, there's not really much going on with XC, so it may be a product that's going away.
It won't go away. We'll keep supporting it and we'll keep enhancing it. I'm not feeling major new features there in that way. Like if you look at the investment, the bigger new features will come out of Order Cloud and not out of XC, but we will maintain it. We will do hot fixes. We'll make it better in performance. We'll decrease the footprint because it's one platform, right? We'll focus on making XM and XP more efficient. So XC will also become in that way more efficient because it's all tied to each other. But yeah, if you want to really get new features, then Order Cloud is where the most new features will come out. So it goes back. If XC fits your business case, I would strongly advise you to look at XC. If it's not even near what they want to achieve, then probably you want to look at Order Cloud.
Okay, great.
Hope it helps. Sorry.
It does.
Do we have any other questions for Pieter?
Oh, yeah, I'd like to maybe just get a comment on your take on Gartner talking about composable business. So I mean, this whole thing with Composable DXP, I think, was very much kicked off in 2019 when Gartner started talking about composability as a business kind of imperative. So we've been hearing a lot about Composable DXP as a technology play, but what do you think that composability, business agility means then for the rest of the business and how business decision makers need to think about not just their tech stacks, but the rest of their business as well? Just, I guess I'm kind of softballing this a little bit in that, is there then a movement afoot in the business world that makes the Composable DXP kind of more of a necessary thing to change to fit the way that business is changing or needs to change to kind of be more agile?
And with business, you refer to the customers that are using the software?
Yeah, I'm talking about the customers who are using the software themselves. Maybe we should speak to composability in terms of in the business context and how that aligns with the technology stack as well.
Yeah, no, I think it really goes into agility because not having a platform, but having that composed solution means you have smaller products, which means you can address new issues. Let's say you get the requirement today that you want to do emails. Then you can just start Googling email solutions and start executing on them directly, right? And then focus on integration later on, because all these products, no matter which product you would use, would have some kind of integration. One feedback I do hear is like, but how about having those from the business, like I need to log into different things. But this goes a bit back to company size. I really see the opportunity, like even if you look at companies, right, every department likes to do their own thing and they are responsible for their own thing. So there's a different part of departments do email marketing than the other part that does content management, right? So if they all can use the tools that they prefer, I think that provides really benefits because everyone has their own preference in which tools they like to use. So you're not forcing end users in a tool. I think that's a great benefit. But really, because it's not about, like, we talk a lot here about integration because we come from a platform world where everything is tied to each other. And most of our customers tend to have a digital team that everything does everything in Sitecore. But if you look at marketing companies, they have a different team that writes the content, which could use, for example, content operations for planning and management. Digital asset management could be a whole other team for advertising companies. Email marketing could be a different team. There's social teams. There's all these different teams that like to use their own tools. And I think that's where really, if you look at Composable, plays at best of breed, right? They have another CRM system that sales use. So all these different parts are small systems that all the business users tend to work with on their day-to-day. And they all should play nicely. I don't want to come too technical, but they all have API first, so they can integrate. But where you integrate is basically the last mile, which would be your website where you want to bring everything together. But inside the business, it's every department doing their own stuff in the tools they like to use. And I think that's a really nice thing. The other thing I really like for Composable is that you don't need to throw away. Let's say if you have platform XP and you're going to switch over to the next platform, you're basically going to throw out everything that you did and build all over again. Really, if you look at Composable, you're basically saying, all right, I already have this marketing stack that drives value. I'm already using this CRM system. I'm already using this email client. Now I want to add digital asset management, or I'm going to add this tool. Now I'm going to add content management. I'm going to add this tool. And of course, you need to rebuild that website because it needs to get the data from all the things. But that's only the delivery mechanism, the final channel delivery. So it's not really, like from Composable, is not prescriptive on how the business should do their business and the day-to-day. And that provides that agility in that way, right? Because if you have a business problem that you want to solve today or tomorrow, you can find that small solution and you don't need to buy a whole platform or re-platform or rebuild it. I think that's where agility comes from, and that's where the benefit from the business comes from. In return, there's a bit more of integration on the website. So there's a bit more integration work there, of course. Did it answer your question?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, I'm hearing clearly that, yeah, it's letting everybody pretty much work in the area that they have become accustomed to with the tools that they've grown to love, and then working that into the platform. I guess that also then, as an implementer, I think that also kind of raises the importance of architecture from an enterprise perspective, in that, it's not just one tool that's doing it all for you. You've got to think a little bit more about your architecture in order to make it work together.
Yeah, it brings it to architecture too. Like, what kind of tools are you using for what, and between the vendors. And I think it's like, if you look at Sitecore, right, we're going to offer all these products. They're best of breed. What we need to do is the better together, right? How do they complement each other? So what's the value of picking Sitecore CDP with Sitecore XM, right? Why wouldn't you use another content management system with CDP, which would work fine, right? But at the end, we need to create those integrations between the products. So for example, that you could go into Symphony, the front as a service, where you would use the content management system of Sitecore and can do personalization in the same interface. Then we add value to the customer, because then they're better together. And then we make it easier for customers to pick two Sitecore products. Because in the Composable, you're not tied to Sitecore only, right? You can use any content management, any CDP. But if we make it better together, CDP, Send, all these things, then it's a logical step for customers to use them together. And I think that's a unique proposal that we're going into the industry. Is we're going to say, right, we want to be individual best of breed products, but we want to present it as a world-class suite when you add them together. But they're not tied to each other, so it's not a recommended something. But if you do it, they complement each other, and it adds value and makes your life easier.
So do you think the better together and the main integration points, Peter, are going to be around content management and how your life is easier in terms of using one tool there? Or do you see like other areas of integration points as well?
Yeah, so I think the opportunity, because we have 8 different capabilities and products that we have that we offer. So the integrations that I can even come up with are endless. So if I talk to my customers, there are even more integrations. So I think the opportunity, the better together story, are endless. But of course, we also have engineering and people. It also needs to be built. I would say the first one would be around Symphony. So I think Symphony would be that first line of glue where products come together. So yes, it will be at content management. But I mean, I think if we sit here in this room with these 12 people, we can come up with 40 use cases that how products would complement each other. So I think that, and truly, that's where the opportunity is we need to do this first step now in the next 6 months and show what we're meaning with it. But then time over time, we can make them better together. We could even add more companies to the list at some point, and then again, build out more of the integrations. But as a company, we really focus also that an individual product should be best of breed, or should be fixing an issue for a customer. So you don't need to know 2 products are mandatory to get a thing done, but they should complement each other. And that's really something we keep repeating in product, that's where we want to go. And I think that's unique in the industry, because most of the vendors do one thing. They're best of breed in content management. They're best of breed as asset management. And then you need to integrate them yourself, or there's open source integration. But what if the product would have deep integration out of the box? Would your customer prefer that?
Yeah, that makes sense. Any other questions for Peter?
One more, and not to preempt any news or anything, but is there anything missing in the site? I mean, you guys have sitting on a wad of cash, and you've been buying up a whole bunch of stuff. Is there anything missing in your toolkit? Not say, don't name any names, but if you had to add another piece to the Sitecore Composable stack, what holes do you feel that you want to fill?
I don't know. I couldn't answer if I knew. I don't even know. So that's also the good thing. So I cannot even lie there. I also don't want to provide the opinion. I think the focus for product is really, because we already acquired so much, there's not a focus on ultimately acquiring more. To be honest, like personalization or a search made a lot of sense. I think that was really a missing part. If you look at the content story, if you look at the commerce story, but yeah, I think we have so much going on at this point. I'm not personally, for me, if I look at my role, I'm not focusing on acquiring more companies at this moment, because we need to figure out this. There's so much going on. How can we do this better to get a story in the next release? How can we show what we've been saying at Symposium? How can we move in the right direction? I think that, to me personally, that's a personal opinion, is more important than acquiring more companies at the moment.
Peter, Jim posted something in the chat as well. He asked, have any other platforms reached out to you to work with you, like technical partners?
Yeah, but there's a whole team. So I don't know. There's a team that does a technical alliance partnership. So I only know when that happens, and then we get involved if it fits into a communication strategy and what we need to roll out. So I think Vercel was a big one. Again, Vercel, we initiated ourselves because it fits in it, but Vercel was a big one. But I don't know. It's another team. I think the beauty of it all is that these things are API first, where if I look at this technical marketing, I can't wait to open up the products more and see if we can do similar as Sitecore XP, build a community, start building more open source integration as a company, be more open source oriented. And I think that's a bit where the industry goes to. If we show more open source and have stronger commitment as a company to open source, then companies can build out their own integration as a POC, and then later on they could talk with the technical with the TEP program and figure out business things. But it's really in this API first world, if we have easier access to our products, it would be easier for everyone to integrate with it. So I'm hoping that it's going to be in the organic way.
Great.
So Peter, with all those different blocks, are we going to move away from that XP, XM idea and just have, I guess, everything doesn't really matter, Content Hub, where the content's coming from? I guess, is that the point? At some point, Sitecore XM will not even be a thing anymore?
No, I don't believe it, because I really feel that, and it's hard because we live in a world where we come from somewhere and now we go somewhere else. But I really think it's two different offerings, and I think that XM, XP, and XC have their own value. So it goes back to the difference between platform and composable. Even if you look at it agnostic in the industry, not Sitecore only, there are customers that want the platform. They want one user interface. They want a lot of features for that value. They don't want the integration, and they want to have a web channel that is best of breed digital experience without all the integrations, and they'll fit their business into that platform. And then on the other side, you have companies that have teams that are already using different marketing stack. They want to keep using it, and they want to expand on that. So it's two different use cases, and that's really why I think the platform will always exist in that way, because it's maybe in like, let's say 10 years, if the better to get a story is so good that it does everything that XP does, and we're talking decades away. Like I'll have another ribbon here than the 10-year ribbon, then maybe.
On the other side, or?
On the other side, I'll put him on the other side. Yeah. But really, I don't think XP will go away. It's because there is demand for it. It solves customer issues. Platform DXP will exist.
Okay, thanks.
So is there a plan to have XP on the cloud like XM?
Yeah, but you can do it right now. But then, so the benefit of a platform is that Sitecore, and I think that's how we always been unique. We didn't acquire companies and stitch them together to be a platform. So Sitecore is all built with Sitecore, which always brought the beautiful benefit that you can change everything in Sitecore, which we all loved as a developer. It makes the SaaS story a bit harder. The other part, what we're seeing is how XP is built. It's really server side. So it doesn't really make sense to bring it really as a SaaS, multi-tenant SaaS product. How you would do that would be through a managed cloud solution. And then you basically have your SaaS solution. There's just so much customizations being done on top of XP. And I think that's also a business value, that you can do it, right? There's no limitations. what you can build out with XM or XP.
Well, thank you, Peter, for your time today. And thank you, everyone, for asking Peter questions and joining in this discussion. And thank you for joining us for today's Sitecore Strategy Lunch. With that, I think we'll say goodbye. Dennis, you have something to play for us?
Just like the one. We don't see you again before Christmas. Have a merry one. All right.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye,
Thank
guys.
you. Enjoy
Thank
Christmas.
you. Bye.
Thank you, Peter.
Bye. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Talk later, guys. Merry Christmas. Bye.
Bye. Merry
Bye.
Christmas.
Hey, good job weathering that there.